So, morals and values are similar, but they're not the same thing. Your morals actually come from your values, not the other way around. Your morals are your core principles, right? Your belief system for how you think you and other people should behave. But your values are the overarching network for how you want to live your life and what you've determined is truly important to you. So, taking some time to sit down and really think about what your values are is, in my opinion, a pretty important thing to do if you're somebody who's introspective, cares about personal growth, and wants to create a clear path in life so you aren't distracted by things or people that don't align with your values. So that's exactly what I did. I recently sat down and I physically wrote out my values because I can sit and think about my values and I know what they are more or less, but actually writing them down, pen to paper, and fully understanding why I'm writing the words I'm writing just gives you a chance to really know yourself better. You're connecting with yourself on a deeper level. And when you connect with yourself on a deeper level, everything that you do is going to be congruent with your purpose. There's no mystery or wondering anymore. You know exactly what you value, what you want out of life, and in turn, that makes you more confident about who you are or the type of person you want to become. So I wrote down a list of 10 things I value, and I'm sure there's a lot more because you can always continue to add to lists like this. But I really wanted to narrow it down to a few core values that I have, and I'd like to share them with you. Now, of course, because values are something that are very individual by nature, everyone's values are going to be different, or at least different values may be of higher or lower priority to different people. But there should be some overlap, and I'm sure many of you will share at least some of my values. So, in no particular order of importance, let's begin. Number one, deep connections. Having deep connections is something that is extremely fulfilling to me. I'm sure many of you are able to see that I'm a pretty thoughtful guy, and deep thinkers also tend to be deep feelers. I really shy away from any kinds of friendships or relationships that only seem to be superficial by nature because they just aren't fulfilling to me. I have a hard time getting close with people that aren't growth-oriented or introspective themselves. When people are thoughtful and have a strong individual identity, it's attractive to people like me because there's a lot of layers to unravel and connect with, and I can unravel some of my layers in return. I need realness. I need depth. I need vulnerability. Real, raw humanity. Not everyone can give you those kind of deep friendships or relationships because there are a lot of qualifiers. For example, you need to have excellent communication skills. But the people I have been able to develop those kind of deep connections with, I really cherish. Number two, honesty. Honesty in and of itself is a qualifier for having deep connections with people. It's a lot easier to trust and respect people when you know that they're honest and don't have to constantly question their motives or intentions. Now, I'm a very honest person, sometimes brutally honest, but I also think I'm a pretty damn good communicator, so I can be both tactful and honest. I just respect people who are real, who aren't afraid to tell the truth, even if it's difficult or embarrassing. I'm capable of having far more respect for a person who fucks up and is honest about it than somebody who runs and hides from their mistakes, never taking accountability or making an effort to be better. Number three, intelligence. Intelligence is something I've always valued. I remember escaping recess in fourth grade just so I could sneak into the library and read about the Holocaust on the computer. While other kids were busy playing, my mind was elsewhere. I was curious about learning about the secrets and history of the world when nobody else wanted to talk to me about it. Granted, I was like 9 or 10 years old, but still. To this day, I still aim to read about a book a week, and I'm always trying to fill in my knowledge gaps in areas of my life I feel like I could improve in, whether it's fitness, finance, or relationships. I value intellect because while some people may just have a natural disposition for intelligence, it's also something that can be trained. Intelligence is both your mental weapon and your first line of defense against the world, because the way that we show up in life is often a reflection of what we think in our own head. For example, if we think that we're unlovable losers that will never be good enough or worthy of anything, then the results we get in life tend to be a reflection of those self-imposed and limiting core beliefs. However, if we're just simply honest about our shortcomings, take accountability, and seek to learn and improve upon them, then the things that once seemed so out of reach for us will often start slowly showing up in our lives. Part of valuing intelligence is learning how to make peace with your own mind, how to develop it into your primary source of inspiration and encouragement, rather than a breeding grounds for defeatist mantras or insecurities. Your mind is an unbelievable tool for strength in carving out the life you want for yourself. Which brings me to number 4, strength. As somebody who's been obsessed with powerlifting and bodybuilding for many years, it's no secret that I value strength. Truthfully, I think comfortable modern life has made people far too soft, far too sick, and far too weak. Willingly subjecting myself to physical challenge regularly has been a way that I've been able to keep my teeth sharp in a world who increasingly wants to remove theirs. Strong people are resilient people. They're capable people. A strong man or woman objectively provides more value to the world because they're more useful. They don't break as easy. They're better protectors and providers. If some shit goes wrong, a strong man will step into action while a weak man will sit on the sidelines hoping he doesn't have to take responsibility. Looking back on my 130-pound insecure self, I can honestly say getting stronger has had more of a positive impact on my mental health than anything else in life. With strength comes competence. With competence comes confidence. But it's not just about physical strength. I think physical strength often correlates to a strong mind, and having a stronger mind leads you to having a stronger body. It's a positive feedback loop. Challenging yourself and growing from the experience leads to positive self-affirmations, which leads you to taking on even greater challenges and becoming even more psychologically hardened to the inevitable struggles of life. I think a big reason why people subconsciously respect somebody who's fit or muscular is because it's not just a reflection of their physical discipline, but their unwavering mental resolve as well. Not everyone you meet is going to place value on developing physical or mental strength the way that I do, but I can assure you, when the time comes for you to be there for them, they will thank you for it. There will never be a time where a strong man isn't valued or appreciated somewhere by somebody. Number 5, integrity. People who always aim to do what's right are the type of people I want in my life. Everybody wants to do what's right, but few people actually will. Not even necessarily because they're bad people, but because being somebody with integrity all the time is difficult. It means your loyalty can't be bought. Unfortunately, most people's loyalty has a price. They don't have integrity. It means your morals and values can't be compromised by promises of grandeur. It means that sometimes you'll have to make difficult choices that often go against your innate desires in order to live in congruence with the principles of somebody who actually has honor. Now, we're all human and nobody's ever going to be perfect, but every decision that I make, I try to make with the intention of consistently upholding my integrity. I don't lie. I don't steal. I don't cheat. I don't pretend to be somebody I'm not to win the affection or approval of others. I communicate honestly and effectively. The people I allow into my life have integrity too, and it's allowed me to foster genuine trust and quality connections with those people for years. Number 6, creativity. I think all humans have the potential to be creative in some way. Creativity is simply just an expression of our innate humanity, our genius, our desire to build, to connect, to express. In a ravenously consumerist society, creativity is the exact opposite of consumption. Creativity is just one way that we can give back to the world, whether it's through art or music, writing, building something, or making videos that provide value. When you consume, you have an unquenchable appetite for more. But when you create something, the satisfaction that comes from that experience lasts a lot longer. Depending on what you create, it's something that could potentially last forever and have an unlimited positive impact on the world. Although human nature in our society forces us to be more consumerist by default, I try to balance my ratio of creation to consumption. And I notice that when I make an effort to create things that add value to mine and other people's lives, I'm a lot happier and more fulfilled. I'll always find ways to construct something of value throughout my life, whether it's through music, writing, videos, or building something with my own hands. Because of this, creativity is definitely one of my core values. Number 7, adventure. I've always craved adventure. I've jumped out of planes, off cliffs, climbed mountains. Hell, I even used to ride my bike without no hands regularly and violently headbanging simultaneously. While I'm definitely not as reckless as I used to be, I still have an innate desire to experience life to the fullest, to experience as much as I can during the short time that I have here. Fear and challenge are both inherent aspects of adventure, too. There's a cross-sectional area where fear plus challenge plus danger meet fun, and that's where adventure happens. Skydiving is dangerous because most people are afraid to do it. Hiking up to the summit of a 14,000-foot mountain is adventurous because it's both incredibly challenging and dangerous. What if you break your leg and get stranded up there with no cell phone service, or get altitude sickness, or die from sun exposure and dehydration? These are risks adventurous people are aware of, but trudge forward in spite of risk, because there's risk involved in any great feeling of achievement in life. You have to take risks to experience the best that life has to offer, from the ecstasy of summiting a mountain to the vulnerability of love. Personally, I've realized long ago how fulfilling challenge is, and adventure is simply just a great way to challenge yourself and your comfort zone while having fun and creating amazing memories and experiences along the way. Those are the things I want to share with people I love, and ultimately the memories I know I'll cherish most at the end of my life. We're all going to die one day, so I've realized I might as well do as much epic shit as possible and be relentless in my quest for experience the entire way there. That is living. Speaking of living, let's talk about number 8, health. Even though I've only got one life to live, I want to feel good while I'm living it. I don't personally feel that it's necessary to lock yourself in a box and live in an ultra-restrictive lifestyle in order to be the absolute healthiest you can be, because that would detract from other things I value in life. But I do aim for a healthy balance. When you're healthy, you can do more. When your health is lacking, what you can get out of life is automatically restricted because you're confined to the limitations of those parameters. But like the saying goes, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So I try to apply as much prevention as I can through regular exercise, stretching, plenty of water, sunlight, healthy foods, and sleep. All of those things make me feel good and help me show up in life every day ready to accomplish the most. Number 9, love. I'm confident in saying that love is something everyone values. It's one of those things that when you have it, your life dramatically changes. Experiencing genuine love is one of the most fulfilling things about being alive. We are all stardust, so if anything, it's a gentle reminder that a tiny piece of the universe actually gives a shit about you, and that's comforting. When we're in love, we get to experience the deepest and most vulnerable parts of ourselves and somebody else simultaneously. The best love you'll have is the one that brings you peace, reassurance, and comfort. Now, no relationship is ever going to be without trials or issues. You can't expect to have a perfect love story when the people who make up that story are imperfect themselves. The difference is that when you find a truly good and quality person to love, they won't leave you guessing. People make an effort to sustain the things in their life that they value. I think the saddest part about love is knowing deep down that all relationships end at some point. But a relationship ending doesn't mean it was a failure, as long as you learn something. Relationships do teach us about other people, but most importantly, they teach us about ourselves. Humans can be complex individuals, and when you date someone, you're dating all of their problems and everything they've experienced too. Now, I don't believe in soulmates or that there's someone for everyone. Rollo Tomasi has an article on his blog called The Rational Male, and the title of the article is There Is No One. Although that will be an uncomfortable pill for some to swallow, the lack of bullshit will be good for you, and I highly recommend you read it. There are some good ones, and some bad ones. Or rather, there's people and then there's some better people. Although there are some people I wish I had never loved, there are people I've loved that I still cherish to this day, even if they're no longer in my life. I'm now able to reflect on those experiences in a positive way, what they taught me, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to have known some people so intimately. Because of the impact it's had on me as a man, love is something I'll always value tremendously. I could probably write a book on my thoughts and experiences on the value of love, but without reciting a novel, I think I could just sum it up as the healthiest relationships are the ones that make you feel both secure and free. Which leads me to number 10, freedom. Webster's dictionary defines freedom as the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. How could you not value that? Everything I do in my life is all sort of based around my own sense of independence and freedom. My work ethic and plan for early retirement, financial freedom. My desire to travel and adventure without hindrance, personal freedom. The fact that I hate playing in bands, so I write all of my own music and play all the instruments in 2 heavy metal projects myself, creative freedom. Freedom to me means not waiting or relying on anybody else. I really value my freedom as both an individual and as a man. I make my own rules and I march to the beat of my own drum. I do what I want, when I want, with whom I want. It would take a hell of a lot for me to want to give that up. And ironically, I think anybody that would be special enough to make me want to sacrifice a bit of my freedom for them would also value freedom and independence themselves. So those are just a few of my values and a few reasons why they're important to me. Understanding what your values are is an integral step in understanding yourself, because your life will be a reflection of your values. Assess what your values are and then take a good look at your life if you don't believe me. It's important to be honest about what you value, because although it may feel noble to say you value things like hard work, delayed gratification, and loyalty, if your real life behavior reflects otherwise, you'll be living in cognitive dissonance, and the anxiety associated with it won't go away until you address it. Your values aren't even necessarily things you just admire. They're what you actually want. They're core principles and examples of who you want to be and the type of people you want to attract into your life. I understand that these can be difficult questions to ask yourself. You'll have to be introspective and perhaps become aware of some things you want or need to change about yourself. But the clarity achieved in the end result will pay dividends in your life for years to come. Well, that's my video. Thanks for listening.